Hi there, it's Karen at Corrie Paper Crafts here, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Central Scotland. Welcome back to another Simple Sundays project, and it's this one here. It's a nice, quick and easy money wallet. So for this I used Granny Apple Green cardstock, and the paper is from the Whale of a Time 6x6 designer series paper pack. So really pretty papers, just a quick flick through those, all double-sided as always. Some beautiful scenes in here, great for backgrounds or making, you know, a box frame or something like that, which is what I'm thinking about doing with some of this. We're a sailing family, so anything to do with water or anything that's nautical, right there. So I'm going to stick with the DSP, but just use a different sheet, and I'm going to change up the colours slightly. So I'm going to use Balmy Blue for the one I'm going to make, and I'm going to show you right now what you'll need to make it. So you're going to need a piece of cardstock. As I say, this is Balmy Blue, and this measures 7 inches by 7 1/4, which is 18 by 19 centimetres. You'll need 3 pieces of designer series paper, all measuring different widths, but or different heights, but the same width. So you'll need one piece at 5 3/4 by 2 3/4 inches, which is 14.5 by 7 centimetres. You'll need one piece which measures 5 3/4 by 2 7/8 inches, which is 14.5 by 7.5 centimetres. And you'll need one piece which is 5 3/4 by 7/8 of an inch, just for the flap on the top here. And that is 14.5 by 3 centimetres. You'll need to make the height of that 3 centimetres. So I am going to show you my sample that I made in centimetres. This is the one I made in inches. This is the one that I made using all my measurements in centimetres, and there is very, very little difference in the size of those. Very much the same height, and maybe 1/8 of an inch, just short of 1/8 of an inch narrower, but very little in it. So I've tried to round the centimetres to workable numbers. So this one we are going to make in inches, but I will give you the score lines in centimetres as we go. And you're also going to need a piece of Whisper White cardstock for stamping your sentiment. So let's get the papers out of the way just for now and grab the scoreboard. There we go. So on the short side, that's the 7-inch side or the 18 centimetre side, you're going to score at 1/2 an inch on both sides. So 1/2 an inch here and 1/2 an inch here, and that is 1.5 centimetres for the centimetres version on either side. Then turn it to the long side, the 7 1/4 inch side, and you're going to score at 3 inches and at 6 1/8, which is 7.5 centimetres and 15.5 centimetres. So that's all the scoring done. So let's pop that scoreboard away again and just fold and burnish on all your score lines. And while I'm doing that, I'm just going to remind you that in September Stampin' Up have a fantastic joining offer from the 1st to the 30th of September, which includes, as well as your kit for £99, and choosing £130 worth of products, you also get enough cut cardstock and bits and pieces to make 16 cards, I think it is, and 2 free stamp sets as well, and a set of embellishments. So if you pop over to my Facebook page, there are details on there. So you'll find me on Facebook as Corrie Paper Crafts. Anyway, back to our money wallet. So this is what we're left with once we've done our folding and burnishing. This section you'll see is slightly smaller than this, but that's to allow for comfortable folding of the flap at the top. So we need to remove some bits. So this bottom panel here, as you're looking at it when this narrow strip is at the top, we're going to keep that completely intact, but we're going to remove these 4 sections here. So we'll just do the same on both sides because we want it to be the same on both sides, and we're going to remove that score line as we go, and we'll see how Karen gets on with straight cutting. It's not my forte, as you know, but part of this is going to be covered up anyway. So we're going to do the same on this side, taking that score line away and then taking this score line away and cutting straight down past that first score line to the second one here. And I'm wondering how straight that is, so let's just see if we can straighten that up a little bit. Nope, it's not going to do it, so that's fine. So this is what you're left with after you've removed those sections, okay? And then we're going to just wedge a little bit on either side of these sections here, and do that on both sides just like so. And this is what we're left with. Alright, so now we want to round the corners on the top of here. So I'm going to grab my trio punch, which is getting used a lot at the minute. So just round both the corners there, and while we've got the punch out, I'm just going to grab my narrow strip here, which is a strip of paper that's going to go on here, and keeping the direction true, I want to round the bottom corners of there. So if you have a directional pattern, you want the rounded corners on the bottom with the pattern the right way up. So just remember that, or you might have to cut another piece of paper. So there we are. So now we need to stick our bits of paper on. So I'm going to grab my glue, and I need to remember that this is a new bottle of glue, so not to squeeze too hard or it's all just going to come shooting out. And I just want to make sure that I get glue close to the edges, and as always close to those corners to keep them stuck down. And then I'm just going to add that onto the flap of my wallet like so, with an even border round about. I'm quite happy with that. And if you want, turn it over, you can give it a much harder rub on the underside, and that means that if you have any little bits of glue that have come out at the sides, you're not sticking to them and you're not pushing them across your paper. So if you turn it over and look at the wallet now, this is how you're going to stick it together. So we've got the paper the right way up here, so we want the direction to be up and down this way with the top and the bottom of the pattern here. So we'll stick this bit on next. Now we've got to be careful because one bit's bigger than the other, so you want the smaller piece of DSP for this panel here. And again, I'm just going to make sure that I get close to those corners with my glue, and as close to the edges as I can manage. There we are. And remember, it's the smaller panel that you're sticking this to, with an even border round about. So I'm fairly happy with that. Maybe just, yeah, that's better. So I'll just give it a rub on the back. And then again, looking at it while it's together, turn it over. So we want top of the pattern and the bottom of the pattern here. So when you look, it looks like it's going in the opposite direction to those other pieces, but that's how you know you're putting it on the right way. If it's the same way up, you're actually putting it on the wrong way round. So that's a good way to remember when you're putting paper on the front and the back of things. So again, pop it on with an even border around the outside, about there. And I'm just making sure I get those corners pressed down and give it a good old press down on the back like that. And that's all our panels on. So when the wallet goes together, we've got our two pieces on the front and our piece on the back, which is the right way round. And I'm just going to give that a press with my paper folder to make sure those edges are stuck down. I probably could have popped that on a little bit straighter, but I'm not going to worry too much. So lid on the glue, and then we need to add tearing tape to these two panels here. They're going to stick to the inside of your wallet, so you want your tearing tape on those sections there. So near that fold but not right on it, so that if you've got any tiny gap at all, that's not going to show on the outside of your wallet. And getting a piece of fluff from my jumper piece here as well. Now what I did once I had done this was, I still have a little bit extra cardstock here and here, so I'm going to actually take my trimmer and just cut a little bit off, because when I put my money in, I don't want that to be catching on it. So it's easier to put it all together and then just trim a little bit off the end once you've done that. So just line it up, make sure it's nice and straight on your trimmer, and just take off a tiny little bit. And the same on this side here. No precision at all, just make sure that you're missing your tearing tape and you've got just a little bit of cardstock either side, and that'll do you fine. And then all we need to do is stick that together. So give these just an extra burnish and remove the backing. There we are. And I'm going to just fold these in and just gently fold them up, and just do one side at a time, making sure that I hold on to this and just make sure that I'm happy where that's sticking, so that I've not got anything overlapping at the side, like so. There we are. And if you've got a little bevel here, that's okay, because when you close it, it'll go flat again, but that just means that you can get those sides joined together. If you look here, there's just a tiny overlap here if you fold it completely flat, and it annoys me and I don't like it, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. So again, just give that an extra burnish to make sure those stay stuck. There we are. And that's your wallet made. So all we need to do now is add our ribbon and stamp our sentiment. So we'll do the stamping first. So I'll grab my piece of, got a little bit of glue on the grid paper there, so I'll just grab my adhesive remover. And the stamp set I used was the Peaceful Moments cling stamp set, and I used the Happy Birthday from here, which I've already got mounted on a B block. So these are all products that are in the annual catalogue, and oh, it's not going to stay put. I need to grab my Bammy Blue ink, which I haven't actually got out of my ink drawer. So let's just grab that just now. There we are. And then I'm going to stamp my Happy Birthday. Just make sure I've got plenty ink on my stamp and stamp my happy birthday about there. There we are. Put the ink away before I put a bit of me or a bit of paper into that, and then I'm going to grab this punch here, which I completely forget what it's called, so bear with me because I'll have to look that up. Its name has completely escaped me, so give me 2 ticks just till I find it in my catalogue and I'll tell you exactly which punch that is. Oh gosh, I still can't find it. What is that? I think, is that the Timeless Label punch? I think it is, but it's got these 2 extra little bits as well, so you can put slots and holes in projects that you were making, so apologies for that. I should be able to remember, but we've got a lot of products, so if I can't recall the name of one, I'm not going to worry too much about it. And I'm just going to make sure that I have a look at that and that I'm happy with whether or not it's straight. And as always, you think it's straight, then you move it, and then it's completely not straight. So I think that's straight. There we are. So you always get these little bits that come out as well, the little dot and the slot, which we don't want. That dot wasn't complete because it was near the edge of the cardstock, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm not going to use it anyway. And then I'm just going to flatten these corners a little bit with my paper folder, because sometimes they just curl up a little bit, but just flatten them again and Bob's your uncle. So what I did was, we don't have any balmy blue or granny green enamel dots or anything, so I actually coloured these with my my granny apple green dark Stampin alcohol blend, and I've done the same with these here, and I used my dark balmy blue Stampin blend as well, and I just used the brush end, but be very, very careful, because if you're too rough with that end, then, in fact that's not the brush end, Cara, that is there. If you're too rough with this end, it can split it a little bit because the fibres are really quite delicate, so just be careful if you do colour anything. So they've had plenty of time to dry, so I'll cover up the stabby bit on my, and sort out this putty. I think I've twisted it a couple of times, so get rid of that bit from the end, and I'll just get an extra little bit out there, just give it a bit of a flatten, and then I'm going to just take those and pop one here, one about there, and one about, whoops, about, oh come on, about there, I think. There we are. So that's just our basic pearls, and you can have them any colour you like. It's great. The alcohol blends are fabulous for that, and they only take a minute or so to dry. So I'm going to add a couple of dimensionals onto the back of here, one on either side like so. Pop that to the side just now, and I'm going to bring in my ribbon, and I think I'm going to use, where have you gone? It's not balmy blue, it is actually Pool Party, but I'm going to use this gorgeous sheer ribbon, which is in our new annual catalogue as well, but because it's so sheer, you don't notice that it's not quite the same colour, so I'm going to use that. I'm just going to cut this little bit off. I tend to use mini glue dots to hold the ends of my ribbon down, so they don't all unravel, because I keep them in a box. And then we just want to add enough round the wallet to be able to tie a decent bow, so I will cut that off about there. And then what you can do if you want is you can hold this down with a mini glue dot, and actually I think I just might, just to help to hold that flap down, because otherwise as you know, quite often when you're on camera things can go a bit awry, so I'll just pop a mini glue dot there, hold that down very gently. You don't have to stick it down really hard, and then it makes it a bit easier to open it again. Tie my bow about there. I'll straighten it all up once I'm done. Pop that through and hope that my bow will go together straight. If I pull it straight, then it should. There we are. It does go a bit curly. Oh wow, I'm not going to mess with that anymore, she said, and then messed with it straight away. I just want to make sure, because it's sheer, you've just got to make sure that you do pull it tight, and I'm going to leave that well alone because I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to just trim that, and there we are. I don't know where that extra bit went. There we go. Just straighten that up, make sure that I'm happy with it in the middle, and add my sentiment onto there. And I'm just going to make sure that that's in the centre and that I've got one piece of it either side of my ribbon, and I'm going to pop it about there, but I want to make sure that I'm happy that's in the middle of the pouch before I actually press it down. I'm quite happy with that, and there you go. So that's my two money wallets, and I might be back in a couple of weeks and show you a Christmas version as well, but I wanted to stick with the annual catalogue for now and make a couple of birthday ones and stay away from Christmas just for today. So thanks for watching. All the links to my shop and where you can get the products will be in the description bar below. If you do like any of the products that I've used today and you don't already shop with another demonstrator, I would be delighted to have you shopping with me, and I'll send you a little gift at the end of each month that you have placed an order as well. If you use my monthly host code, which is usually in the top right hand corner of each video, then you get an extra share of catalogue products as well. And I can sell to the UK, France, Germany, Austria and the Netherlands, so you're welcome to shop with me if you're in any of those countries. So if you also need any catalogues, I do have them and I can send them to those countries as well, and I have them in English, French and German, so just pop me a message if you don't already have a demonstrator, and I'll happily pop one in the post to you. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like today's project and you've not already subscribed to my channel, and share with anybody that you think might enjoy making this as well. Thanks for watching, take care, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.